Hi everyone, welcome to my channel again. My name is Emma, and today I'm going to talk to you to give you 8 more tips on what you need to do once you've made your booking. In my previous video, I did talk to you through how to be savvy and save some money. So definitely, I know you're going somewhere. But now, what do you actually do? So from the time you get home to when you're at your destination. So tip number 1, you want to compare your taxis. How are you going to get to the airport? Are you going to take a taxi there? If you are, do compare the Uber prices versus the local taxi. I know sometimes we are so much using Uber, but actually I found sometimes that the local taxis are cheaper. There's also a third alternative. If you're not able to take the public transport, you can always drive your own car. And with driving your car, if you book again well in advance, there's a lot of airport parking that you can actually pay in advance, and you could pay something really reasonably cheaper compared to you even taking a taxi. So really you want to make sure just you are comparing all these things so that you don't end up paying a lot. Number 2 is with your documents. Please take copies of your document. Take a picture and save everything in your one of your share drives. It can be either on your one of your clouds account like Gmail or any other account that you normally use, Dropbox or any other. Just make sure that you have them handy. Things do happen. Actually, 2 weeks ago, I had a friend who just came to visit UK, and she went with her passport to Oxford Street to do shopping, and unfortunately, it got lost. I don't know whether it got nicked or it got lost, but yeah, she lost her passport. So you can imagine the hassle of going through to the embassy, lucky she was in London, so the embassy where she needed to go was local. But imagine you're somewhere rural and you don't have anything. So really it's such a hassle. Just make sure you take copies so that in the event something like that happens, you have a backup, and at least all you have to do is just get everything you need, and you can prove who you are very quickly and get your duplicates issued again. Tip number 3, you don't take a lot of cash. Cash is very enticing for thieves. Somehow they smell the money when you travel abroad. So you want to take very minimal cash with you. And if you're going to take in your local currency, if you're taking pounds or dollars or whichever local currency you have, or euros, just make sure you don't exchange at the airport. You tend to get the worst exchange rates at the airport. So really you want to take minimum cash, and then the other thing, you can also take advantage of some of the travel money. Now there's so many, like a lot of supermarkets here in the UK, they do it, or TravelX, or the post office. There's so many options that you can get what happens is that you give them cash, and then they give you a plastic card with that cash equivalent in there. And the good thing about it, if you do lose that card, your money is not lost. So you can always come back and get a duplicate. And actually, I think they can actually replace your card while you're abroad. So it's really fantastic way of making sure that you don't lose your money, you don't get conned, or touch wood, you don't end up without money. And then number 5 is always bring a pair of extra clothes in your hand luggage. This is actually a story that happened to me. I was on my way to India. I was going for a friend's wedding, and I was super excited. I had all my clothes in my bag, everything ironed and pressed and all ready to for the wedding 2 days after I arrived. And unfortunately, as it always happens, even though it was a direct flight, my bags did not arrive. So I got there. I didn't even have anything to change whatsoever. In 8-hour flight, I just needed to rest, and I couldn't. So the hotel had to give me some stuff to wear, and to be honest, it wasn't the best thing. I really wished I had listened to someone telling me to bring something, just maybe a pair or something inside my hand luggage, and just minimum toiletries, because once you lose your bag or it's delayed. Mine did turn up after 2 days, just in time for the wedding. So I didn't have to borrow or buy new clothes for the wedding, but really it could have saved me a lot of hassle, ready for me to wait for my bags to come back before I went out to buy more stuff. Number 6, if you love listening to music, I know nowadays we do have everything in our fingertips, and we like to do live streaming. Make it offline, so that when you're in the plane, you can't afford to, you can't, well, I don't even think you'll be able to do Wi-Fi. Nowadays they do have Wi-Fi's, but at least you will listen to the best music, your music. And also abroad, it can be quite expensive. A lot of countries are still not as ahead as here, where you have Wi-Fi everywhere you go. So really, you do need to make sure that you stream your music and make sure it's offline, so you can listen to it whenever you want to. Number 7, if you're going to a new country, I did give you lots of tips yesterday what you need to do to make sure you're safe and you're prepared. But today I'm going to say you need to download the map of the area that you're going to. Not necessarily the country, because you won't, unless you're touring the whole country. But it kind of just gives you heads up on how big is the place, which direction you'll be going. You don't want to jump into a taxi and it kind of is taking you a different direction. So at least you're one step ahead. Once they kind of know the area, they kind of tend to respect you. And number 8 is bring your electric converters. Wow, I tell you guys, being to US, of all the places, I actually didn't know they use a different electricity, the converter, the one you put on the wall. So in the UK we have 3 plugs, or rather it has. Oh, actually I do have something I can show you. Yeah, so you get some of these. So this is like a US equivalent, and I'll show you. The one for the UK is that one. So you can see that one has 3 plugs, or whatever you call them, and this one has 2. So if you have this one coming from UK, there's no way you'll be able to plug in one that kind of just fits this, the 2 one. So really ended up going to the reception again and trying to say, oh, by the way, do you have any converters that I can borrow? And they say, sorry, we don't. So I ended up having to waste a few days trying to figure out where I need to go to get the shops, remember how it's called correctly, because even though we all speak English, once you go to somewhere else, they kind of call things differently, and it's very confusing. And it kind of again wasted my time, because when you're traveling, time is really valuable. Yeah, and I think just a last tip that came into my mind, really just remember to bring something to nibble, especially if you're going with your kids. Breakfast, I always bring some oatmeal or some cereal for my daughter, just to make sure that she doesn't, even if the food is very different, at least her breakfast is sorted. And some bars, some healthy bars, snack bars, and all that kind of stuff, just to make sure that you are all set, especially for your breakfast. I hope you like my video. Please do like it and subscribe to my channel, so that you're the first person to know when I do upload a new one. Thank you so much. Speak to you soon.